So it's been now a couple of months since we got the updated and current version of the Wing Sprint cars here in iRacing. So today we're going to be taking a look at how you can set these things up, whether it's a base setup for the slick, adjustments, anything like that. And I'm also going to tell you how you can get my brand new updated free setups for both the 360 and 410 Wing Sprint cars. Before we continue, today's video is brought to you by Smoky Mountain Beards. Now you guys, Smoky Mountain Beards is a company that I'm really proud to partner with to bring you guys a really special offer. So here's the deal. Smoky Mountain Beards actually reached out to me a while ago and we were talking about, a partnership, promotion, that type of thing. And I told them, look, before I do any of that, I gotta try it out for myself to make sure that I actually like it and that it's something that I want to bring to the SSR sim racing community. Well, not only did I try it, I absolutely loved it. In fact, I not only now use their beard oil, I use a ton of their stuff. This beard oil right here not only smells great, but works incredible. I've never put stuff on my beard ever. Anything that I've ever tried, I've never liked it. It's either made my beard feel like greasy or it made it feel like sticky. Or I had one thing that I tried one time. It was like I put like hair gel on my beard. It was horrible. I was just like, no. So I stopped doing that. And when Smoky Mountain Beards reached out to me about this beard oil, I was like, yeah, man, I'll try it. Because if I like it, then it's something that I am, definitely proud to present. And you guys, I love this stuff. I have been using it every day now for well over a week, and it is incredible. It makes my beard not only look better, but it's softer, and it still smells like it smells great. This stuff smells good. All of their stuff has an incredible scent. The oils are handmade. They've got vitamins and minerals in it. They leave your beard feeling and looking nourished and healthy. And like I said, it feels great. It doesn't irritate your skin, and you don't get that greasy, nasty look where it looks like you haven't showered in days, and it doesn't clog your pores. And for someone like me who has super sensitive skin, to be able to put this stuff on, I mean, I've been using it multiple times a day because I like it so much and not break out. It's incredible. But here's the deal. You guys, don't just take my word for it. Just listen to me. Right now, you can get your very own 2-ounce bottle for free. All you got to do is click the link down in the description below where you can sign up to get your very own free 2-ounce bottle so you can try it out yourself. All right, so click the link down in the description below, get your free 2-ounce bottle, and start using this stuff. Because like I said, I think it's amazing, and I think you will too. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brennan here. Thank you very much, as always, for joining me. And like I said, today, we're going to be taking a look at the 360 Wing Sprint Car in particular, the 360, but know that what we cover in this will work for the 410, even the 305. Now, iRacing has given us a couple of updates on the Wing Sprint Car over the last, 6-8 months, but the current version we've had now for about the last 2 months. It came out right before the Pro Series got underway. Now, if you remember when this came out, I actually did a review on it, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was exactly what we were looking for, exactly what I was wanting. You could use real world setups. Adjustments actually made a difference. The car had life. It wasn't just lifeless and, didn't feel anything and doing a bunch of stupid nonsense where you're jacking up the front end and all that crap that I just can't stand. So I was really, really in favor of this when we first got it. Now, for any of you who have actually seen the last couple of pro races, you'll know that there's been some pretty wonky setups that those guys are running where the car's slammed over on the right hand side and things of that nature. And although that seems to work for those guys, I'm not going to be covering that in this because I don't think that is something that's going to be around in the future. Part of the reason I don't think that's going to be around in the future is not only because iRacing might do a patch or a fix to it, but also I think it has something to do with the track states. And now that we have a good foundation for the cars, I think we're going to see a lot more work on the actual dirt track states, whether it's the moisture content, the grip levels, the slick, stuff like that. And I think that's where you'll see a lot of this hokey nonsense kind of go away. Now, of course, I could be 100% wrong on that, but that's just kind of my theory on it. And even though that seems to be like what, the pros are doing with that setup, I've seen pros also run other races, leagues and stuff like that, running normal setups and spank those other setups. So for me, it's always been about what gives you the best, most comfortable setup so you can get out there and extract the most of your abilities. And if you like the car slammed over like that, and kudos to you if that works for you. But for me, I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. And stuff that I run is, similar to stuff that I've always ran. Obviously, it's a little bit closer to real life now, believe it or not. And it works well for me. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. But understand this, the principles and things I talk about, you can use it on any setup, whatever you want to run. So it's really up to you. Now, last thing, before we actually hop into the garage and I kind of start walking you through a few of these things, just know if you want to get my updated free setups, I just updated all the 360 and 410 winged sprint cars, went through all of them. Updated the gear ratios, the suspension, all that stuff, tested it. It's for all the dirt tracks minus Chili Bowl, because don't run these damn things at Chili Bowl. But it's updated for all of them. And if you want to get those, they are located in the SSR free membership site. All you got to do is go to schoolofsimracing.net, click the button that says join community, and you will be put on the list, and you will have access to the free membership. And for those of you who are already on it, no need to worry. You just go to the free membership site and you'll see the updated setup. So you just click there and you can download the whole file. All right, so with all of that being said, let's head over to the garage now and take a look. All right, so we're here at Lernerville, and the reason for that is at the time of recording this, Lernerville is going to be the first official race in the 360s for the week 1 of the 2022 season. And so I just chose this track because that reason, and it's also a track that I use a lot for testing and practicing, like trying to figure different things out, because it's got 2 distinct corners, right? 3 and 4 is much more wide sweeping, 1 and 2 is a little bit tighter. The banking on them is a little bit different at both ends, and so it provides a nice mix of different, situations and functions of the car, and so it gives me a chance to kind of experiment and get it from a bunch of different angles. So Lernerville is actually one of my go-to tracks for testing. But one of the things that we noticed about the new build was much lower tire pressures. Now, this is something that I've actually ran with the first official races that I did when me and Shay actually did them. We were running lower pressures, and Shay won the race. I finished 3rd, I think. Like, it was, the car felt pretty good. Since then, I've been doing a lot more testing and kind of playing around with them, and the max pressure seems to be the way to go, at least when the track is tacky. Now, in the free setups, I left them all basically the same, 12, 10, 10, and 8. And then you can kind of play with them if you want. I will tell you right now, personally, there are some situations, especially when the track is really slick, where I will drop the rear tire pressures, but it's only a pound or 2, right? It's not like I'm going down to the minimums or something like that. So tire pressures, are very similar to what we ran on the, original build. And I say the original build, I mean the one that we had before these last 2 updates. Stagger, that, you guys, I mean, it's basically kind of, what it's always been. For me, I'm actually running about the same stagger that I was before, maybe a little bit less in certain situations, but for the most part, that's always to me been really a comfort thing. How much do you want the car to drive itself on throttle, and how much do you want to have to put the wheel into it? For me, I want to drive the car on throttle, meaning if I want to rotate it more, I just want to be able to give it more throttle. If I want it to straighten out, I want to be able to back off. I don't want to have to work the wheel a bunch, because I already work the wheel too much as it is. So that's kind of one of the things that I use Stagger for. So for me, on the bigger tracks, when you're looking at basically everything like bigger than linear, I'll usually start off with 12.5, maybe 13 inches of stagger. On the smaller tracks, kind of linear and smaller, I'll do 13 to 14, right? Maybe Fairbury, I'm at 14, Kokomo, 13.5, stuff like that. So that's kind of like the zone on the stagger, but ultimately it's going to be about what really feels the best to you. Now, on the chassis side of things, this is where we have really seen the biggest changes. So the wing angles, you can now go down to 20. That is now the minimum, which is a good thing, because 20 degrees is actually an angle that they run in real life. When we're at bigger tracks, especially in something like a 360, right? If we're running like a 3/8 or half mile, we would flatten the wing outs like 20 degrees, maybe 21, 22, depending on how tacky the track was. So the fact that we can go down to 20 now is a good thing. And the nose wing actually has some purpose now, meaning that you can adjust the nose wing angle, and it doesn't just like pin the front end and make you feel like the car is junk. It actually adds some benefit. I've played around with the nose wing, did some testing with it. I have found almost no difference between 22 and 30 degrees on the nose wing for speed, right? So it doesn't seem to kill your acceleration or your speed or anything like that. I did quite a bit of testing. If there is, it's minor. I mean, like within margin of error. So it's really a comfort thing. If you want to go, if you want to go at 30 degrees on the nose wing angle all the time, you can. You really can. One of the reasons that I've been running 22 is because I've just gotten so used to running 22 that's what I started off with. Now there are tracks where I will increase it, situations, but for me, we've ran 22 for so long, I'm just like used to that. So that's why I put it at that. Okay. Now the position when it's tacky, it's all the way forward. Occasionally you might move it back a notch or two, but for the most part, it's flat and forward. That's kind of what you want to do. So those things it's kind of similar to what we had before, but also a little bit different. So it's a good thing. Now, the biggest changes or the biggest differences, I should say, because the actual adjustments and stuff like that, components haven't changed, but the biggest difference is now in what the car seems to like. And for me, it's definitely much more on par with what we see in real life. So when I was working on sprint cars all those years, we never did stuff like measure cross weight. Never. I could not tell you one time what the cross weight was in our wing sprint car setups. Couldn't tell you, right? We didn't even scale them, right? Like the only time we would ever scale a sprint car is if there was something that just wasn't right. Like we were trying to figure out, like, do we have is something bent that we can't see? Did we mess something up? Is this thing not, like if something like that was just completely off. Otherwise, we just blocked them, put the bars in, right? Put the stops where we wanted, like that type of stuff. Like we never measured cross weight. And that was one of the things that kind of drove me nuts in the beginning when I was trying to figure these cars out a couple of years ago. Was I would do stuff that we would do in real life and the car would get worse. And it's like, what the hell is going on? Well, the previous model seemed to like a whole lot more left rear static load. Okay, keep in mind these cars dynamically, the amount of left rear load that they're putting in is insane because of the wing. But in terms of static load, we would run quite a bit as well. And as the track would slick off, we would usually be putting more weight into the left rear. Usually, not always, but usually. And that was something that we never did. Like we never jacked weight into the left rear of the car. Right? I mean, I shouldn't say never, but it was rare, very, very rare, because the weight's already going to that side. And as the track slicks off, the winged over phase is happening. It's just more and more and more because of the way that the car is being driven with the on off throttle, all that type of stuff like that. So for me, that was something that I was really having a hard time with. And it was one of the big hurdles that I had to get over when I was first learning about these things. I say all that to say now, these things are much more on par with, like I said, real life in terms of cross weight, stuff like that, which I don't pay attention to the cross weight number. But, putting weight into the right rear as the track slicks off more, taking weight out of the left rear as the track slicks off more, is something that I do quite a bit. And it seems to really, really help these things. It makes the car just feel much, much better for me as the track slicks off. Now, once again, it's all about how the car feels for you, because what you want to do is you want these things to essentially be driven on throttle, like I was talking about, and you want to keep them as straight as possible. You don't drive a wing sprint car, you don't pitch them into the corner, right? You drive them in nice and straight, and you want to keep them nice and straight. And it's far better to actually lift a little bit and keep the car straight than it is to hold it wide open and break the rear end loose. Breaking that rear end loose can cost you a ton of time. So whatever you got to do to get that car comfortable to where you can do that, that's it. That's what you want to do. And for me, I can pretty much use a couple of just base setups to start with, tweak them here and there, and know that, look, I've got something that'll work, and then move on, right? And that's one of the really nice things about this now, is that you don't have to have some crazy, ridiculous setup that it's like, no, 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 you got to learn to drive the car like this. Otherwise, you'll never win races. Like I said, keep that wonky stuff that the pros are doing right now. Keep that out of the conversation because that is so far beyond 99.9% of us, right? And like I said, I don't think it's going to stick around. We don't need to worry about that. That stuff's going to end. I'm not worried about that. So you guys aren't going to be dealing with that in your official races, right? And if you do, those guys are going to be winning because they're pros, not because of their wonky setups. So what do we want to do in terms of the setup? So like I said, first of all, if you're like, dude, I don't want to build them, you don't have to. All of them are free on the website. You can just go download them. They're great. I drove them all, made sure they worked, and you can use that and then get the free setup guide and just make adjustments on it, and that'll definitely help for you. Okay, you've got something that you can now use and go out and be competitive with. Okay, but for me, a good starting point at most tracks, I mean, there's always exceptions, but a good starting point for me at most tracks is if I am looking at a medium to smaller size track, this is usually something that I'm going to have on. I'm going to have 10.25 bars on the right with thousands on the left and put some tilt in the car. That's going to help the car drive through the corner more while we keep it straight. Okay. Usually, I'm going to have some kind of shock combination like this where I'll have a 5/4 or even a 5/5 on the right front. Maybe a 6 in very certain situations, but for the most part, it's going to be a 5/4, 5/5, something like that. On the left front, it'll be anywhere from a straight 5/5, to a 4/5 or a 4/6, which would be a tie down shock. That would be more like short track, so we can really get that left front down. We can get that thing to kind of get through that corner. And then, as the track slicks off, then we can take some rebound out of the front shock so we can get some more weight transfer to the rear as we get on throttle. All right. So that's kind of the front, it's front shocks, pretty straightforward. On the rear, I will start with anywhere from a 4 to a 6 on the right rear bump. Most of the time, I can tell you right now, you could put a straight 5 shock on your right rear, never touch it at every single track, and you'll have a decent shock. You really will. The shocks are the comfort. Okay, that's the thing that you need to understand. Shocks are all about comfort, making the car comfortable for you. Okay, and so you want to dial it in to where you feel comfortable. The car doesn't feel erratic. It doesn't feel like when you hit a bump, it's just all over the place. Right when you're on and off the throttle, it feels smooth. That's what shocks do. All right, and so that's what you're looking for with the shocks. Now on the left side, a lot of times you're going to start with some form of tie down shock. Here we've got a 3/8, and basically what that does is once the car wings over, it just helps hold the car in that winged over phase. All right, so even as we turn in and the force, right, the motion of us turning in, even when that happens and our momentum is to the right and that makes that kind of roll to the right, that shock is holding it down to keep that left side, and that just gets us through the corner faster. All right, so that's why you're usually going to tie that down. As the race goes on, or I should say not the race, but as the night goes on, as the track slicks off, I will usually take rebound out of the left rear and let that thing roll over more and more and more. So as the track slicks off, now we're getting more of that bite on the wings over, and then it rolls up so we can get more of that bite on the right side. Pretty straightforward. Wheel spacing, I will usually start somewhere, 17.5, 1750. If it's a short track, I'll be a little bit above that, but only like 1/4 to 1/2, and I don't ever go beyond 18 inches. And then bigger tracks, be 1750 to 17. Like I said, pretty straightforward. That's kind of the starting point. As the race goes on, you just move, or the night goes on, you just move that right rear in. Just move it in, move it in, move it in. Okay. Left rear, for me, I usually start 1375 or 1350, and then as the night goes on, I'll move it out some. All right. And I just do that because that's what we did. Like I said, that's what we did in real life. It feels good. It seems to work. It just seems to work. All right. Now, another big difference with these cars now is the gear ratios. So the gears when we had the original build and then we got the first update, the gear ratios, it was just like they were just everywhere. It was so different. We spent a lot of time trying to figure it out, and then we got this current build, and the gear ratios are different once again. Now they're not nearly as extreme as we had on that previous version, but these things seem to like more RPMs now. Running a shorter gear, having more RPMs and then controlling the car with your throttle to maintain traction seems to be a very good combination in terms of overall speed. As the track slicks off, I still use the principle of kind of go into a taller gear, but I don't always do that. There are times the gear that I start with at the beginning of the night is the gear that I finish with. You guys, when I say the event or the night or something like that, just understand I'm talking about a race, whether it's an official race or a league race or whatever. That's just, how we always refer to it at the track in real life. And so I just still say that. It's just a habit. But anyways, so I will usually start and finish, pretty close to what I have at the beginning. It's not like it used to be where, you start qualifying with the 574, and by the time you get to the feature, you've got a 549 in it, right? Like I don't jump around like that no more, and it doesn't seem like you need to. The car seems good, and it seems to be fast as long as you can control that throttle. And that's the biggest thing, is controlling the throttle, being smooth, keeping the car straight and smooth. If you can do that, then you can be fast no matter what setup you've got on it. And that's key. It doesn't matter the setup that you use. What matters is, can you keep it straight? Can you be smooth, right? Can you use that throttle, get speed out of it without spinning your tires and sliding all over the place? If you can do that, then you can be fast. So you guys, that's going to do it all for this video. Now, really quick, do me a favor. If you like this, please, you know what to do. Hit the like button. Also share this, get this out there, so that way other drivers, wing sprint car drivers, dirt drivers can actually see this and hopefully figure some stuff out and get their setups dialed in better. Also, if you want to get, like I said, my free setups, you can do that. Just go to the website, schoolofsimracing.net. I'll have a link for you guys down in the description below. Head over there, click the button that says join community, and then when you do that, you get put in our Discord, our Facebook group, and on the email list, and you get access to the free membership, and you've got access to it forever. As long as SSR is around, you've got access to it. It's not something that we're going to charge money later or anything like that. So if you want to get the free setups, my setup guides, plus we got setups for asphalt, oval, all the dirt cars, a bunch of stuff, and I got a bunch more free setups coming as well this next season. So if you want to have access to that, click that link down in the description below, or like I said, go to schoolofsimracing.net. And lastly, if you want to actually see the Insider program and get 2 free weeks of full access to it, completely free, no trial, no $1 pay, nothing like that. 2 free weeks of access starting week 1 of this coming season here in 2022. So what, like 2 days from now, I'm going to be giving everybody in SSR that is not an insider, all right, or basically everyone in SSR that's not a platinum member. So even the insiders that are that people that are insiders but they're not platinum, I'm gonna be giving everybody 2 full weeks of insider access at the platinum level. So you'll have access to every car that we have in the insider program. That's all of the asphalt oval cars and all of the dirt oval cars, and you're gonna get it for free. All you got to do is be on the email list, and if you're on the email list, you'll get access. Now, here's the deal. If you sign up after that day, okay, after that day I put it up, you're going to be out of luck. So you want to make sure that you get signed up when right now, right, like this second, before I do that, because once I do that, you're going to be missing. It's only going to be for those people who are already on the email list. If you're not on the email list, you're not going to get access. And like I said, that's going to be happening here in just a couple of days. That'll be happening on December 13th. So you want to make sure that you are on the email list when I do that, because when I do it, You get 2 free weeks. If you miss out on that, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're going to be doing that. It's going to be our SSR season of giving, but I just wanted to do that because I'm actually going to be leaving this next week to Mexico, and I will be gone until January 4th. Now, don't worry, I still have a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff that'll be getting put up. They're going to be scheduled, so that way you guys have got some stuff to see while I'm gone. But if you want to check any of that stuff out, like I said, links for everything down in the description below. But that's going to do it. Thank you very much, as always, for being here. And until next time, good luck, good racing, take care.